Hello, this is Phil. Welcome back to underKG Show. Today we got iPad mini with Retina display. Let's call that a mini Retina. Before we get to the biggest change in the iPad mini, that being the Retina display, let's get into the basics. On the top is the iSight camera and the display, of course, with Retina display upgrade and the home key without the Touch ID. Well, it seems like Apple want to sell another iPad next year, so what can you do? On the back is a camera and the microphone, Apple logo, iPad logo, and the stereo speaker with the lightning port over there. And on the right side is a classic iPad layout with the mute key that can be also used as a rotation lock key, volume rocker, and that's pretty much it. On the top is a 3.5mm headphone jack, power key, and if it were a seller model, it would have had the nano SIM card port over there, but this is a Wi-Fi only model, so it doesn't have that. That's it. So this looks pretty much like the older iPad. Let's invite that over and see what the difference is. It looks the same. It looks pretty much the same, and that's the case actually, except for the microphone added over there. These two are almost identical, except for the fact that they did. The new Retina did get a bit thicker, 0.3 millimeters thick, and it did get heavier. Wi-Fi models got 23 grams heavier, so that's the difference. But other than that, it's barely noticeable actually. The most noticeable part being the Retina display over there. If you're watching it in the lower than 720p, click on the little icon over there and update your resolution 720p or 1080p. To look at the differences between these two screens. All right, display resolution has been quadrupled, double to the horizontal and double to the landscape. Double to each of the sides, making it quadrupled. Okay, so let's open up a page and see the difference. Let's say underKG.com. And you can't really see the differences from the top, so let's compare it right in front of the camera. You can see the little orange box there with the review string. You can see that it's got a lot more crispier. That's the difference. And the new display on the Retina isn't perfect. We'll get into that in a second. Other than that is not the only difference. Actually, although the iPad mini Retina looks identical to the previous iPad mini, it's been upgraded into a whole lot of perspectives. The CPU has got upgraded, the GPUs got quadrupled, and the RAM's been doubled. It's almost like it's two generations of the specs upgrade in comparison with the older iPad mini. So that being said, let's get into a bit more detail of the iPad mini with Retina display itself. To start with, it's got a Retina display. It's got a crispier display with the quadruple resolution, which is the same as the iPad Air. The only difference that it has is that not only that it's small in size, but color reproduction over in the iPad mini is not exactly great. Meaning that showing the same screen, showing the same screen, we can see that the greens over there is quite different. It's not only difference in the tone, it's Mini's display isn't exactly the best looking display. It doesn't reproduce color perfectly. But other than that, this is basically the iPad mini that you guys been always waiting for. It's just like the iPad Air, just smaller. It works. I don't really want to go over the whole iOS section because everybody knows how it's like, so we'll skip that. Except, let's just mention that it works just as fine as you would expect from an iPad or an iPad mini. It's got the latest processor. It's the biggest RAM in the iOS devices. I don't think that's enough, but it's the biggest amongst them. So it works as you would expect. And what surprises me every time I get an iPad is that it's got an insane speakers. Let's play a song. This is the part that I heard about Dropbox is slow. All right. iPad mini speaker is no exception. iPad mini speaker is great in sound. Volume may not be as loud as it is seen on the iPad Air, but the quality is uncomparable with the other tablets in the market. That being said, there's nothing much that I have to talk about the iPad mini with Retina display. Let's say that this is the iPad you've been waiting for, but there are drawbacks. There are three, mainly starting with the glass. The glass has got thinner and lighter. In order to make it thinner and lighter, now it actually kind of like, when you press on the center of the screen, it kind of like, pushes to the inside. And this isn't exactly the best thing that you want from a glass. It's not as sturdy as you want, and when you type on it, you have this like bouncy feeling on the glass, and that ain't good. The second is that it does produce some heat on the back of the panel. Of course, when you're surfing on software or something, it doesn't happen. But when you go to some hardcore things like a Infinity Blade, it does make some heat. It's winter now, so it should be fine. But it's not exactly great to have heat on your iPad. Second thing. All right. Third being that, as we have mentioned, the color reproduction isn't the best. Of course, this Retina display got a whole improvement to the clarity of the text and the photo, but color reproduction simply isn't as good. But still, it doesn't change the fact that this iPad mini Retina is as good as an iPad Air, but $100 cheaper. It's only smaller of an iPad Air with some drawbacks, but it's $100 cheaper. So which should you choose? Well, everybody wants to have both, but which one should you choose if you have to choose one? That would be decided on your purpose of having an iPad. If you read an article, magazine, or if you watch movies on the iPad, then you should get an iPad Air, despite the more expensive price, but it's got a larger screen and it's not that much heavier compared to the iPad mini. But if you want to use it on the public transportation, like on the bus, or if you don't really mind the size of the screen, it is $100 cheaper. So if you don't mind the size of the screen, you should definitely go for the iPad mini. But if three drawbacks that I mentioned are heartbreaking for you and you don't mind spending $100 more and get a bigger screen, you should get an iPad Air. I know that it sounds like pretty obvious. It's like something that everybody can say, but that's what it is. After all, iPad mini with Retina display is one of the best iPad in the market, and certainly the best iPad mini ever launched. Of course, there are only two. So if you don't mind the drawbacks, you should definitely get one of these. This was underKG, and following through is the detailed display shot of the iPad mini compared with the classic previous gen of the iPad mini. So wait for that, and before you go for that, don't forget to tap on that to subscribe on underKG show. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to stay tuned for the following shots. Thank you.